Welcome to The Truth As I Know It. This is Tim Jackson, your host, and I'm here to bring you some serious conversation. I look out on the tube and I see a lot of comedy and political satire, singing jokes or whatever else, but not any real serious content. So what I want to do is have a conversation with you. Talk about what's going on in the world, politics, of course, life, relationships, or whatever else, whatever comes up. So what I want to do is have some of my friends come in and we'll talk about the current events, talk about sports or whatever else, whatever's bugging us this week. So one of the things that's bugging me this week is how the Republicans have switched everything around. Politicians are politicians, so a lot of times you see stuff that just isn't true or really broad stretches of the imagination. But for the Republicans to suddenly come in and say that they're the party of change, but yet support everything that the current administration does is a little asinine. No, it's extremely arrogant because they expect everyone to just suck it up and believe it because they said it. I think that's a typical politician thing to say whatever it is they want to say and then expect you to believe it and take it at face value. And they partially do that because so often that's the case. The masses, take it and we go on this whole soundbite media thing and it just is whatever they said and no one questions it, no one thinks about it, no one looks at it or whatever else. The drilling thing, for instance, the experts will say that it'll take 10 years before any of this stuff comes to the pump, and if that was the case and it was so simple, then why weren't we just drilling earlier? Why wasn't, we taking oil from, American soil before? The reason is, in my opinion, is that it's not in the oil company's best interest. It's not what makes them profits. So right now, the things that have been going on has made the oil companies the most profitable company ever in U.S. history. Quarter after quarter after quarter, they're breaking records. But how do you break records when you're saying that your costs are going up? When you say that you have to charge us this cost because you're assuming the cost and you're paying out all these charges for private contractors and all this other stuff that you're doing in the Middle East, and you have to pass that cost on to us, but yet you make record profits quarter after quarter after quarter. This doesn't wash out no more than they constantly question Barack Obama's integrity along with his experience, and then bring in someone who was the mayor of a city that had 9,000 people. There was 9,000 people at the high school I went to. There are twice as many people in Philadelphia as there are in the entire state of Alaska, but they're bringing this up as experience. And what's weird to me is that suddenly Sarah Palin is leading the Republican ticket. Because we're not talking about John McCain. He's not the one drawing crowds. It's Sarah Palin drawing crowds, and it's just accepted. And they just go along with it. Everyone goes along with it because it's a nice personality. She's bringing energy. She has this rock star, persona to her and everything. But when it was Barack being a rock star persona, it was a bad thing. Now, I didn't hear any policy issues. I didn't hear really how we're going to do this. But the same thing they keep talking about the Democrats is that they're not bringing any details. It's just all dreams and everything else, which, isn't really the case. I think we hear a lot of the sound bites, but not enough of us go into, really what are they saying and actually look it up and research some of the things that are going on. So I think that more of us should be really involved and really be able to have the answers to say, though, well, when someone asks a question, well, why do you support John McCain? And they'll say, well, these are the things I support. He wants to do this, he wants to do that. He was planning on doing it this way, plans on doing it that way. And the same thing for Barack. I think it's bad business when someone supports Barack and doesn't really understand, what it is he's about, what things he stands for, why it is you're supporting, why you think he's so great, beyond the fact that he's an eloquent, orator. So I challenge you to come up with why you're actually supporting him, Barack, McCain, you know, why is it that you're drawn to this person? Why is it that you're so intent on voting for this person? Because to me, what's weird is that so many people are voting on, you know, who they like instead of what their best interests are. You know, what's important to me are jobs in this region important? Is healthcare important? How's that healthcare plan affect me? Does it affect me? How does raising or lowering taxes affect me? Is it really going to do me any good, or is it going to cause, you know, another large-scale financial issue for the country? You know, we have all these financial giants being bailed out by the government, which to some extent makes a lot of sense, because if they crumble, then everyone around them crumbles, and it's a vast domino effect. It's not fair, but it makes sense. But with all these things going on, how is it that the president keeps saying it as if it's a minor thing? We've had the foreclosure issue. We've had Bear Stearns. We've had Merrill Lynch. We've had AIG. We've had Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. You know, all these, which are huge entities, you know, fall into financial troubles all at the same time. So who is going to put us in a position to steer the country in a different direction and shore up these things so that there actually is a country, that we don't, you know, fall into anarchy because everything starts to collapse, one large thing after another, since the trend has been to consolidate everything, and big companies eating up small companies and large companies merging to where it's one company. Now that one company controls so much of the marketplace that when they collapse, there's nothing there to take its place. And I think that's what's happening now. We have such large companies that are falling apart because of poor business practices on both ends, the consumer and the businessman, that we find ourselves in a crisis. So let me know what you think. Let me know, you know, where you stand, who you're voting for, why you're voting for them, and let's talk about it. This is Reba Jackson's favorite grand, saying just like the host, I hope you're doing better than good and better than most. Peace and blessings.